Hi there. In this video, you're going to learn about complementary and supplementary angles. Your objectives for today are to learn how to identify supplementary and complementary angles and to find the missing measurements of angles using what you know about supplementary and complementary angles. Okay, so let's start off with complementary angles. Complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees, okay? In other words, their sum is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees, okay? Or you can think of it as their sum is 180 degrees, okay? In case you get them mixed up, I like to think of this. C comes before S in the alphabet, okay? So if you think about it, 90 degrees comes, 90, right, comes before 180, like on a number line or something, okay? It's just a quick way to try to remember. All right, number 1. Identify each pair of angles as complementary, supplementary, or neither. So we have this angle 1, and we have this angle 2, okay? And they're both along this straight line right here. So together, these two angles would make, well, if they're along the straight line, right? Together, these two angles, they would make up 180 degrees, right? So angle 1 and angle 2 form a straight angle, so that means that the angles are supplementary. Let's look at the second one. Identify as complementary, supplementary, or neither again. So this angle is 60 degrees, okay? This angle is 30 degrees. Well, let's add them up. 60 plus 30 get you 90. So what is it called when the sum of the angles are 90 degrees? Complementary. Okay, so these two are complementary angles. Let's look at our next example. Since this says find the value of x. Since the two angles form a right angle, they are complementary. If we look here, right? This angle and this angle together, they make up a right angle. Okay, so they are complementary. In case you can't tell, this little box over here represents a right angle. Okay, so if these two angles together make up a right angle, let's make an equation to figure out what x would be. It would be 28, right, plus 2x is equal to 90. All right, so let's start solving. We have 28 plus 2x is equal to 90. So first thing you need to do is undo the addition or subtraction first. We have this plus 28 here, so we have to subtract 28 on both sides. That gets rid of these two, and you're left with 2x is equal to 62. And now we can just continue to solve. Divide both sides by 2, and you get your x to be 31. So, in other words, the value of x here would be 31. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 4. The angles shown are supplementary, so that's already given to us. The sum of these two angles, we know already that it's 180 degrees. So we have to find the value of x here. So let's add these two and make them 180 degrees. 123 plus 3x, right? 123 plus 3x has to equal 180 degrees. Now let's solve this. Undo the addition or subtraction first, so minus 123 on both sides. Then we're left with 3x is equal to 180 minus 123, which is 57. Divide both sides by 3, and you get your x to be 19. So the value of x here would be 19. Okay, let's look at question C. Find the value of x. So here, the three angles together make a straight line. You see this straight line? This angle, and this angle are all along this straight line, okay? So therefore, 1, 2, and 3, these angles all add up to 180 degrees. We know that this angle here is 90 degrees because there's a box, right? So this angle represents 90 degrees. And now here we have 1x and 2x's, okay? So we know that 2x plus 90 has to equal 180 degrees. This angle, and this angle, again, are all along this line. So that's why their sum ends up being 180 degrees. So let's start solving this. 2x plus 90 equals 180. You would subtract both sides by 90, right? And then you would get 2x is equal to 90. Divide both sides by 2, and you would get your x to be 45, okay? So each of these x's are 45 and 45. So let's look at our next example. The picture shows a support brace for a gate. Find the value of x. So you have the angle labeled 80 degrees, right? And this angle labeled 10x. These two angles are supplementary angles because they are along this straight line here. You see that? This angle and this angle are along the straight line, so they're supplementary. So that means that they have to total to 180 degrees when you add them, right? Okay, so 80 plus 10x have to equal 180 degrees. Let's solve this equation. Undo the addition or subtraction first. Minus 80 on both sides. Then you're left with 10x is equal to 100. Here you would just divide both sides by 10, and you would get your x to be 10, right? So the value of x here would be 10. Okay, so just some concluding thoughts. Complementary angles add up to 90 degrees, and supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. All right, I hope you learned about complementary and supplementary angles. Thank you for watching.